Please wait for host to start this meeting.
The host has just started.
Hello, people. Hello, who is there?
Hey, Tressa.
Hello, hello. I cannot see anyone. I only see gray boxes with English letters. Can I get some faces? Hello, Alyssa.
Hello,
Yo, what up, Johan? What up, Ishal?
Hey.
What up?
Boys are my team.
Maggie Chen, what up? Applying for EB, I love it. Quinn, hello. Ronald, hello. Maggie, hello. I know you would love to run for EB again. Cool. How is everyone? How are we all? You're 100%. Apparently, the rest don't know how to speak.
Pretty G.
Nice, amazing.
How are you doing?
Wait, why is only Armity here? We're dominating the chat.
You guys are clever, right? That's why, because you guys are here first. Isn't this the RMIT webinar? I thought it was. That's what I came. How to RMIT EB 101.
Is the RMIT EBTL chat?
So like, you know, step 1, we must be the wolf.
Ching Ching.
Hi Diane. Hi Chelsea. Hi Jayi. Could you please show your lovely faces? Ooh. Are you guys excited for VidCon? I know it's soon, right?
That's if we get EB though.
Oh, no, I mean, not a VidCon. I mean Victoria State Conference. I mean Victoria State Conference, like I don't know how else to call it, like Vic State Con.
The State Con, not Big Con.
Well, the State Con in here, the State Con in New South, the State Con in 4 states as well.
Sorry.
You can say Aztec in Victoria State Con.
Are you guys excited for your Victoria State Conference?
Yes. Yes.
Does RMIT have a new role for this time?
I don't know whether we're still gonna do the
We're still doing it.
chocolate.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What is chocolate? Video?
Chocolate is the new one. They don't have a video yet for it yet. Yeah, not yet anyway.
Hi Chelsea again. Jayi, Diane, are you guys there? Hello? Hello, friends? Okay. Okay, we will chill for a bit, probably start about 9:05, see if what late stragglers come. GG, they're not there, yes. And we'll wait for the late stragglers. Oh, I will send a reminder as well, actually. Where's my post? Comments. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, okay, guys, RMIT, are you there? You have to smile so I can send a screenshot that we're waiting for people to come. Okay, smile in 3, 2, 1. Okay, lovely. Okay, let me comment this. Attach a photo. Nice. Could have new people. Oh yes, hello. Hello. Who has joined? Olivia. Hello. Nice hand. How are you post conference? Are you all rested up from working hard as an OC? Negative. Oh, Jeanette. Hello. How are you? Hey, Emily. Hi, Chelsea. We have two Chelseas. Nice.
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay, hi.
Oh, nice. Hi, Chelsea.
Sorry.
Oh, did you join on two devices? Is it?
I don't know what happens. So, I'm sorry.
Amazing. Not a problem. We'll give it a second for some stragglers. Was it okay downloading Zoom, guys? Was it? I kind of forgot. Had it for a while. How to? Hello, Anne. How are you? Sorry, my microphone isn't working on my PC. That's unfortunate. You won't be able to play our singing game then, Olivia. You'll have to sing through your laptop, your keyboard then. Has been necessary. That's a great word to describe recovery time. Amazing. Diane, Jai, Jeanette, and Chelsea, I want to see your beautiful faces. Do we have our webcam available? Oh no, I do see Chelsea's face. Oh, it's just very dark. I think you blended in with the background. Where are you, Chelsea? Okay, it seems like you're traveling or some sort. It's okay. Oh, you're lagging. Oh, unfortunate.
I'm in the car, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Is it NJ or Lynn's car by any chance?
No, my mum's car.
Oh, okay. Say hi to mums for me, jokes. Isaac says hi again. Okay. So I want to see if I can Oh, we got more people. Hello, Akram.
There's gonna be kind of like.
Hello, Isaac UNSW. That's a very awesome. Oh, hi, Daphne. Would you love to learn? Oh, learning how to be EV.
Yeah.
By OCPLX. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Hello, Christine. Okay, welcome, Akram. Welcome, Christine. Please show me your lovely faces. Oh, UCID. Hi, Christine. Oh, it's Christine from UCID. Yeah, nah, fam. What do you mean, nah, fam, man? I want to see your face sooner or later if you become an EB. You'll be flying down to Melbourne with us. Hello, Hrithik. Please correct me if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm very sorry. I will get it right. Oh, Aang, mate. You're here for a job interview, Aang. Love it. Looking good. Hello, A.D. What do you know? Come, stay called Akram. You have been questioned by the MCP. Please answer.
Is it on?
So I'm dying right now.
Yay!
Hello, hey,
I mean,
Olivia.
not yay. But... Hello,
Yeah.
I was working on my EPs. All right, mate. I want to see. I'm looking you up on Xbox after this webinar. I just want to say that now. I want to look you up on Xbox, see how many, what we have under your name. Please don't. What do you mean? Please don't, mate. I want to see what's up. Hello, Kevin. Okay, we're 1 more minute, 9:05. We're going. OMG hired. Okay, so while we're still waiting around for people, let's check in the chat. Let's see who's here real quick. Oh, beautiful. Our lovely guest is here. Oh, we have another person today.
Nice.
Nice.
Hello, everyone. Oh my god.
Should we go to the bigger? Why didn't you bring a chair?
I don't know. Wait, I'll be sure. Let's do this.
Let's move to the bigger room. Okay, one second. We're just gonna move to a bigger room. Oh, guys, check out the new MC office. We're still packing and loading. We have IGT and OGV MCVPs there doing commission chats to your lovely LCVPs. TM just finished their commission chats with the TM LCVPs. Now we're going to talk to the LCVP candidates. Hey, do you have your charger here? Do you have your charger?
What?
Your charger, is it?
You want to charge it?
Yes, please.
Nice. Hi, this is your latest MCVP, Jason and Kiki, for this EB webinar consultation spaces. Hello, everyone. So, it's a lot of people.
I know, look at these cute babies.
Okay, let's start because it's already 9:05. So, how are you all feeling? And you check in?
No,
already?
I didn't check it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how are you all feeling? Like, how are you excited to? I know some of you already like in nominations for like the EB. That's awesome. So please put in the chat, how are you feeling right now? Are you excited to learn more about how's EB doing? And then basically we're going to share some fun stuff as well, like our experience. So it's not only like boring stuff, but it's also be like fun stuff as well.
No worries.
And like there's like a fun fact as well.
We'll release it later.
So like you need to fully listen later, right? Of like how Isaac is like perfectly connecting two people that suddenly like be in the same MC team. Okay, so yes. So where is the slide? Can you share?
Yeah, okay. So guys, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna begin.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Welcome to the EB webinar. And if you become an LCVP, you also learn how to do lit slides like this. But that's like a small thing. Yeah.
No, you learn when you're LCVP too, man. It's about those LCMs.
Yeah.
And the trainings, yeah.
Okay, go down.
Yeah.
Cool. Everyone can see, right? Nice.
Oh,
wait, how to see the chat?
I can't see my chat. So, there's my chat.
How many UNSW you here? Daphne, can you just count? Like, it's a lot. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome. I know. You need to see Jason application booklet for MC. Okay. So, okay, cool. So, how to be EB webinar and with Kiki and Jason. So, basically, this is our experience as like before MC. So, for me specifically, I've become a finance team leader in 2014. I've become LCVP twice. That's how fun it is. I've become twice. So, I become finance and ICX in 2015 and 16. And then I become MCV IGV in Malaysia, 17-18, and I become here, MCV TM OD Australia, 18-19. Jason?
Such an inspiration, Kiki. 2 MC terms, 2 EV terms. For me, I'm a little bit more of a youngin', a little bit more of an ICX baby than Kiki. I was an IGT team leader in 2016. Then I was LCVP in charge of OG and TM in 2017. And now in 2018-19, I'm the MCVP in charge of marketing.
Nice. And then both of us love anime so much. It's like both of us are an avid anime fans. So for those that like animes, you have us.
Yeah, you can talk to us.
So apply as marketing and TM. Okay. Cool. So for agenda today is we have like what we achieve, what we do, team management, sharing a bit of our experience as an EB, and then we open consultation spaces if you want to ask anything, not only functional, because like in this space right now, it's like as a whole EB, like how's the experience should be. So like both of us will answer based on our experience.
Because this space is more to just set expectations for you guys. This space is about what it means to be EB and how to be an EB. We will release later on LCVP, VP functional spaces and webinars led by each MCVP responsible. So if you're interested in like OGV or like IGT or TM and finance or marketing, or TMOD as well, we will have separate webinar series for the function specifically. So this space is for EB.
Nice, cool. So because like the first thing that you need to know, right, is to become an EB first, then like know how to become an LCVP. Okay, cool. So the first thing, cool. So like, again, the question, right, like as an EB, like what is the thing that we should achieve? Which is like, this is like the main thing that you always need to have in mind. It's like, as you are in high performing stage based on OD model. So if you don't know what is OD model, it's basically like a benchmark of like how the entity should be in certain position in terms of like sustainability and also performance. So like in the sense, like TLDR is basically like, make sure that you as an EB are driving your members to actually be in high performing entity. And then the second one is like 100% GFA complete achievement. So like making sure you as an EB has an ownership towards like what you need to achieve in your term specifically, and also the next term as well. And then like as a members achieve percent of goals. So like if you have any specific goals that you want to achieve, like how many members that you want to achieve certain amount of goals, that will be your responsibility as well. So that's like member of the EB. It's more like general in the way. And then the second one is leader of the functions. So again, for those that are applying for like TM, OGV, IGT, like marketing, finance, this kind of thing, of course, it's going to be related to your functional MOS achievement. And then like, of course, functions, TLs, and members achieve their goals, and then team standards delivery as well, which is like the most important thing that you have. Like if you're going to have a team in the future.
And I think like the key thing you can see here is this distinction we've made for you guys, which is versus the member of the EB. This is about where your LC wants to be at. Your LC is 100% complete achievement, and then you have your leader of your function, depending on what your function is going to be as well.
Okay, cool. So next slide. Okay, so like basically in the nutshell, like as a member of the EB, you work together as a leader of the LC to like make executive decisions to fulfill the leadership promises of your team. So as an EB, of course, you will face a lot of hard choices and decisions, because the greatest thing is like the decisions that you make as an EB is going to change the entity as a whole. So like making sure that you have this big picture perspective of like knowing what is the best for your entity. And then next is support the performance of all EB members. So you're working as a team. You cannot have that only LCVP mindset, like, oh, I'm LCVP OGV, I'm only care of my functions. You cannot do that anymore. As an EB, you need to contribute and also know what you can support, like as an EB. And then leave your LC in the desired state of sustainability. So make sure that the decision that you make as being an EB is going to be sustainable. Not only thinking like, I want to be the best in my term, but then like next term is just like you have lost, and then like you don't have pipeline enough for the next term. So like always think about that in mind, and then ensure that every member has contributed and developed from like the achievement of the LC. So not only like having a very big goal, like work very hard, but then after that, like all people are like burnout, and it's like I don't care. So I always think about that as well. And then next is as a member of the functions, of course, it's very like straightforward, like fulfill the functional promises and contribution of your team towards your LC and grow and advance the functions to a better state. So like, again, you see the differences is pretty different. Like as an EB, you need to think more bigger picture of like how the LC will work. But as a function, it's mostly on like, what do you want to achieve in the functions, and like, how are you going to grow and advance towards that? Yeah. So that's like the major differences of both. Cool. So I will not read this actually specifically, but you can see basically like the major differences of both. So like the highlight is basically for EB team member, you always need to have that big picture perspective, not only thinking about like as an LCVP, but also as an LC wide. But like for leader of the function, it's more into like, how can I do my best in the function that I have? So that's why we have like our MCVPs, like in different kind of functions to support you to advance in that. And for EB team member is always have the space with your EB and LCP that's going to lead you to actually work together to achieve the entity goal. Yeah. So we will share this after that to, if you want to see it specifically. Cool. So everyone is G. Is there any questions? Cool.
Any questions so far?
Wave?
Give me a thumbs up. Oh, wave.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up or wave. Wave.
Nice.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. And then, yeah. So like for those that doesn't know this before, basically this is like the competence principle. So like, you know that as an LCP, LCVP, like TLs, members, MCs, like we have different kind of things that we need to like focus on. So basically for LCVPs, which is you're going to manage managers in the sense of like, you're not going to manage your functions, but also manage the people in your functions. So like you need to make sure your TLs are also managing your members properly. So that's like the things that is different from being a TL or member than as a VP. Cool. And then like, this is like the highlights of things that you need to, like everything is important, but this is like, I think the highlights of things, which is embrace managerial work. Sometimes as an EB, the hardest part is not doing operations, but making sure your TL is doing operations.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that is actually the hardest part. You can ask your VP, like, how are they like, always asking and thinking, oh, how's my TLs, how's my members, this kind of thing, rather than how can I implement SOP? Like it's very rare. It's usually like members or TL, but what they think is mostly like managerial work, which is making sure that the people in their team are actually performing or like being in their base state as possible. And then like synergy across functions, this is very important. You will have TM, you have finance, you have LCPs, and then you as an LCPP product, for example, and together you're going to have synergy across functions. So like you need to work together, not only by yourself.
And I think like for the skills, the main highlights here is that's a little bit different from being a member per se, or sometimes being a team leader, is really holding other team leaders accountable. Because usually you'll have team leaders with you and working with them. How can you help them help others do the work? It's like you've got this whole like a little bit of a structure towards things now, and other people to manage it. A lot of your time will go to that. And also something a bit different as well when you're being an EB is really setting strategic direction for the functional area. You're going to be the guy that every single member asks, hey, how do I do this? Hey, like my EP wants this thing. What do I do, man? Like, what do I do, Jason? And you're going to be the guy that really sets the strategic direction of from day one. When that member comes into the LC, your EB team sets the pace of how that member's experience is going to be and what kind of things you're going to do for exchange and what strategy you're going to get exchange with. And most of your time here, like we highlighted in the box, is going to be based around a lot of coaching, about instructions, performance, feedback, and having this cycle repeatedly. Always saying, hey, members, like, and team leaders, especially team leaders, this is how you're going to lead your team, see how they're performing, give them feedback on what things they're doing, feedback for their meetings, feedback for their CCs, if you're an interview, feedback for the marketing strategy, feedback for team standard implementation, feedback for all these things. Right? And you're always repeating this cycle every single week. You're just looking at what your people are doing and how can you help them improve and help them grow as well.
Yeah, so like again, you will see the differences when you become a VP. It's more to like people work mostly. Even though you also need to have like this business acumen, you also need to focus on how to actually making sure people are at the base as possible. Okay, cool. So like, again, this is the highlight of like the non-negotiable. As an EB, this is the thing that you always will do. So doesn't matter if you're VBTM, finance, or GV, this kind of thing. First is final responsible for driving the direction of the LCs. If you want your members to be ambitious, you also need to be ambitious. Exactly. If you want your members to attend like proactive, this kind of thing, you also need to be proactive. So be that role model that the people and the team leaders will see, like, for example, executive board of like this LC is like driving this kind of behavior. And then like decision making according to our essence. So of course, as an EB, you need to always ground yourself to like what we want to achieve as an Isaac. And then next is team standards fulfillment is like non-negotiable. So it's not questionable if I should implement team standards or not, you know?
No way.
Like, remember as a VP, especially if you apply as VPTM, like this is, you will start to discover how important it is. And then like keeping LCPs and VPs accountable to deliver of tasks to yourself and LC. So like making sure that you're accountable towards the EB team as well. And then understanding the state of finances and making decisions according to that is making sure that you also know how to make sure that the decision that you make is going to impact the sustainability. So this is basically like the non-negotiables, like MTR, MFR, XSMR, like this kind of thing.
Because when it comes to not only will you guys be leading a function and also like leading people to do exchange, of course, and that's our main thing that we're here in ISIC to do. But a role that the EB needs to have now they have responsibility is to make sure actually your LC is compliant to run as an LC in the whole bigger scope of the ISIC, like, in the whole ISIC ecosystem, there are certain things you have to do to comply for governments as well. Because ISIC, in the entity and in the international, we run as a business. We do have things to do like MFI, MTR, submitting your budgeting, submitting your financial reports, your human resource data reports, and all these things are super important to make sure ISIC can continue to do the things we do as well. So those are really important things when you come to an EB level as well.
Nice. So there's a lot of like big picture thing, right?
Exactly.
It's not only like how should I do an RGP, but then how should my LC do this?
Yeah, how should my LC fit in to the whole entity?
Cool. So after this, Jason's going to talk more about like team management. So the fun stuff.
So the fun stuff, like this is one of the most non-negotiable yet one of the most, I think, rewarding and amazing experiences in EB as you get as well, because team management is really in your hands and you get to lead people. I mean, like people come in and like we talk about leadership a lot in ISEC, and this position is nonetheless, you just have to work in your leadership, and leadership happens like this through ISEC. Like you guys know, some of you guys are team leaders, I think, and some of you guys have team leaders who have been delivering team standards to you guys as well. So in ISEC here we have how we do team management. First, we have our team standards. So we've all seen the team standards before, right? Building, performing, and closing here. Here's a quick snapshot, but I'll come back to the little flow chart here. So we do team standards for two things. One main thing is to build competence in our people. So the heart, mind, and heart. So our people actually know what to do, what kind of values they're having as well, and how to think more. So to become smarter, they can do things better and they can do things faster as well. So you can improve your people's competencies so that you can achieve the functional goals that you set out for you. And the second thing is you also deliver and understand and live ISEC's values. You help them become better people because you help them become better ISECers, right? You really have to role model and show ISEC's values through delivering team standards, because we want our people to have a team environment so they can do the things they want to do. And doing that has them experience an in-and-out journey. And ultimately, what that lets you do is develop the leadership qualities in our people. Because once they develop their skills, their leadership qualities, and their values, it will allow them to do more of the things we need to do, which is exchange. And it's just like that. And this is one of the biggest things that we need to do as EB members, to make sure our people that are coming into our organization are actually developing and actually able to deliver exchange. A lot of people come into the organization and we want them to do exchange, but they're not developing enough to actually be able to do all those things and live all the ambitions we want to live and achieve those things. So we really have to be able to manage our teams to be able to achieve these ambitions you're going to be writing about in your platforms. So I won't go through exactly what team standards is and everything, the breakdown of what building, performing, and closing stages are. But this is a quick snapshot. You'll learn a lot more about it too when you do step into an EB position. And for those who are team leaders are learning about it at the moment. If you're a team member at the moment, I highly suggest you do some reading on it. We'll send you the output as well afterwards.
Nice. Cool. And this is also the same thing.
Yeah,
so like we'll share this as well. So again, I think like why we talk about this in team management, because basically if you want to know how to manage your team, just look at team standards. It's kind of like a Bible, like if you really want to know how to manage your team, you need to make sure to actually implement all of this like in your team as well, especially if you have team leaders. So like you're not only managing your own members team, but also like your team leaders team who has like members team as well. Exactly. So there's a lot of like making sure that this is translated to like what you do as well. Nice. And yes, so basically this is the fun part of things. So like we want to share a bit of like how's our EB experience. So like if you see this picture, like I've been to 2 EB team. So like if you see in the top left, that is like my first EB team. It's a lot. So if you TLDR, I'm from Indonesia. So we're from one of the biggest LC in Indonesia, which is like we have around 100 plus members from 5 different uni. So it's like a lot. So imagine how many TLs that you manage, how many members that you manage in the entity. And then we have like around always more than 12 EBs in a team. So like imagine how hard the LCP job is, managing like a lot of these EBs. So yeah, again, I think like what I want to share a bit of story of this picture is that I'm not only being a part of my EB, but like as an LCVP, if you see on the bottom left, the 2 pictures, it's like I also become like a fussy, like, you can, as an LCVP, you can actually be a part of like ISEC International, like experiencing like how is it to be with other entities, and then like I can have that experience because I'm an SFP. So it's not only like being a part of like in your LC, but you can
Yeah.
also see like beyond
I think
that.
you really get to like
Yeah.
start to like level up in the whole like ISIC ecosystem and like
Mm.
really start to explore what more ISIC has to offer you.
Yeah.
When you come to EB, like international conferences, working a lot more with like other entities.
Other entities.
It's definitely something, yeah.
Yeah, of course, like there's also conferences like APC, like this kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing, where you really, really will see how big Isaac is
Yeah.
and how different Isaac is in different entity. So like you can actually get this experience by becoming an EB.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, yes, you can also experience like being like, this is my picture winning an award, like for my
nice.
EB. And it's like a very powerful moment when you're part of the EB, like your LC's name are called and then like your hard work is paid, like this kind of thing. And then like I feel that strong bond by becoming an EB because like you really, really do everything like from the start and setting the direction, like bringing that ambition, which is cannot be achieved by all of your team as well, but also like your TLs and members, and your job as an EB is to like drive everything to it. So I think that is like an awesome experience. I take a lot of like fun pictures. This is our team days, so like we also do team days, and it's a very remarkable and moment because you just like work very, very closely like with all of those people for 1 year. Nice. And then this is Jason.
Nice. That's a little snapshot of my EV experience. As you can see here, like, so I was a part of UNSW. For the guys who were here last year, probably see my face around a little bit in some network photos and stuff. You know, like nonetheless, I think EB for me was also a very powerful experience. We also won an award as well.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. You know, and I think it's amazing. In terms of like, I think for me, I've always viewed like EB when I came into it, and like Isaac as well still, as like a big like sort of like purposeful playground. I want to say of like a lot of like a purposeful playground of so many possibilities. Like you just get to do stuff. Like that's like you set an ambition with like a bunch of people. Like for my EB, we started with 8 people, and it was just 8 people dreaming about, hey, how should like Isaac in UNSW or Isaac in like Bandung, like how should it be like in this next year? Not just this next year. How has it been in the past years, and where is it gonna go, and how can I contribute in it moving forward? And you just work like restlessly with these bunch of guys, and like you still have exams, you're still doing uni and stuff, and then you know you end up recruiting 40 other bunch of young people that go, hey, like we want to join you crazy team of people to do these things, and you work your butt off for the year, and you do it, and you achieve something like so impactful, because you get to deliver like so many exchange experiences that really make so much impact afterwards. I think it's really cool. And also like, you know, I showcase a few photos here because some cheeky things that you can do as an EV is like, if you look at this photo here with the bridge there, you see with our red sweaters tied around our waist, we decided to have a big R&R because, you know, we're cheap with us. So we just hired a boat. We're like, you know, we're going to have a boat for the LC. We're just going to, you know, do stuff. And it gives you like so much freedom with it. On the right-hand corner, this is not my portfolio photo or my team photo. One of my portfolio photos is the one in the water there. So the photo on the right, I want to showcase you. It's something that we did a little bit funny at LC. It's called the League of Legends group. Like if you see everyone's like LOL, it's like because we play League of Legends in our LC a little bit. So we have like this like little group there. And it's like a League of Legends group. So it's like a little bit of fun as well. You get the chance to do a little bit of fun things with the members, with your LC. You know, at the same time, you know, I can play low and be like, hey dude, where's your proofs at?
So excited.
But there's that. But like, you know, you get to like, I think like you see on the left hand corner, I want to show you guys. It was leading an LCI conference. This is the first national conference where I got to lead like the LC with as like chief delegate alongside my LCP there. You can see us, you know, chanting very hard at sculling, saying fuck you all to everyone, all part of my French. And it's really cool to really be able to do that. It's definitely like such a like I feel like honorable experience to have that kind of responsibility for you. And that's what it looks like day to day. And like Kiki said, on the bottom left corner, this is actually like me at one of Asia Pacific conference repping Australia and like little kangaroo onesie. So you get these things here. And I think the most fun photo here, one of the most fun photos here is the bottom right corner. The wow fact. The surprise of like where Isaac can take you and what the EB does. Like,
so yeah, basically me and Jason used to be our partners. Yeah, it's very awesome, right? So like when I was RCPB, I was in ICX and Jason was in OGE, right?
Yeah.
And then like I'm just like having our partnerships. So like this is the most interesting thing. And then we're just like, you see, like so in terms of GE
Yeah.
focus, talking
like-
about products and
Yeah,
stuff.
this conversation was like, I was like
Yeah,
the start of
seriously.
2017 or something.
Yeah.
I think the start of, maybe the end of, I forgot.
Yeah, it's like basically we're talking about like
I
IR
forgot.
stuff.
Yeah, what
So
time?
like
so long
it's
ago.
very interesting. And then after that, it's just like I'm going to MC and Jason is still like on the EB, is it?
Yeah.
So it's like a very interesting like we meet like together in here, and I think
Mm.
it's a very interesting thing that when you start being an EB, is like start thinking about outside, you know,
Yeah.
like the outside experience of Isaac and seeing in the bigger picture and how big and awesome Isaac is.
Isaac
You
is,
know?
100% agree. Like,
Yeah.
you really get to start to see like
Mm.
what you're doing for other entities. You know, we
Mm.
do a lot of things for our own LLC and to grow Isaac in Australia, but you really start to really connect with it, how it really impacts the world as well.
Mm.
And I think it's really cool. That, like,
Yeah.
you know, fast forward 1.5 years, Kiki and I sit in the same room, talking about EV experiences, being I partners together.
Yeah, and I think like again to recap the EB day to day, like mostly your job is going to be like Jason said, like thinking about national direction, like not like local direction, like how you want to bring your Aussies, and then like really think it into in a bigger picture, because like really as an EB you are forced to not only do the core work, because like the people that are going to do the core work is mostly your members and your TLs. Like what you're going to do is making sure that you can drive those people to do the core work and like lead them, and then like be the role model that your members and TLs want to see. And then like I think that's the most amazing part. Like I think like remembering like my past Isaac experience, like EB is the most fun but also challenging, because like people look up to you, people will like ask questions to you, like how is it, how to do this, like I really hate this organization. Like when you heard that thing, you know, like you're just like, okay, so what should I do, like this kind of thing. So like because people look up to you, right, as an EB, so like how to make sure you have that strong like tenacity, and then also that resilience to like, okay, let's move forward, like bring the confidence to the people, because like again, like people will look up to you as an EB team, not only like as an LCPP, basically. Nice.
Exactly.
And
Nice.
then next is, I think we want to share a bit of like tips and tricks for you to prepare for EB election. So like this is our picture during confidencing. So yeah, right. When you get elected as an EB. So basically, from my side, I can share first. I think like first thing that you need to do is always talk to people. Like you cannot just do EB application by yourself, because why? Like you're going to prepare vision for like the LCs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like mostly all of you are from like, for example, OGB or like IGT, right? So like you don't have that much like wider experience or like knowledge about how the entity goes. So like really start talking to your LCPs, your LCPPs, not only the functional one but the whole. And then if you really can go extra miles, you can also talk to like past LCPs or like past LCPs to really know like how's the entity been growing, because like the things that you need to know is like how to make sure that as an EB team you can make your term like, how to say, like better than like past term, and then like really advance from that. So like that's the first tips, is talking to people and then asking them like how's Isaac been like in this term, how do you think we should improve, this kind of thing. So it will really help you in your applications, obviously. And then like the second thing is, I think always also like try to connect with like other people in like the entity, not only your LCs, to like getting their insights as well of like how can I do better for this entity, like what kind of GCPs that you have, like because like when I apply as an LCPP, I also talk to like people from different LCs to get their support, like how has it been going, like what can I do better in my entity, this kind of thing. So you have like more wider perspective. And of course talk to MCs as well, because like again, we've been to like EB experience, most of us have been in LCP experience, so we know like what's the things that you can improve as well, basically. So like having that conversation, and then I think the third one is learning the LC and also like the area that you live in, and how can Isaac impact like the area and also the area that you live in and the LCs that you have. So like start thinking like how do like SWOT analysis. Like I think it's very important to like really see how important Isaac is like existing in your area, and how can you as an EB improve that and making that significant.
Like really, I think really understand what the relevancy of your LC is in this area that you are for that university or for the city you're in, and for the country as well, and the wider network and the nation. Because there'll be times as an EB where your members will ask, you know, why should I join your LC? Why should I become a member? Why should I do these things that you guys want to do? Like, you know,
Yeah.
Like
What should I
600
do? What should I do
Yeah,
exchange?
why should I do exchange?
Why should I like go to stars?
677
Yeah.
completes? What is that?
What
like,
is that? Like this kind of thing. And then
like,
yeah, as an EB, you need to
you
have
need
that
to be
answer.
the guy that the guy gal, to be the one that stands up and say, this is why we fight for what we fight for. In Isaac, in where you are, Isaac in this LC, we need to stand up for that. That's really important. And to add on to what Kiki has to say, I think one of the big tips for me is, what can you do now to make sure you have the best run in your functional role at the moment, whether you're a member, whether you're a team leader, or whatever it is, because you're going to start to write about your dreams. You're going to start to think about, talk to a lot of people. You're going to ask them how Isaac and this has been growing. What can we do? What was good? What was bad this year? Starting to understand what other functions are doing, because you need to see how your function fits into everything. But also really consider what can you do now in the role that you have to really show that you really do care. And so that dreams are not just dreams, ambitions aren't just ambitions. You guys are still in ISIC, you're still either a member of this or a team leader of this at the moment. What can you really do now in your current role as well, to really show how much ISIC really means to you and your LC. And definitely ask your LCP elects as well.
Yes.
What they're thinking.
What vision that they want to fight for.
What do they want to fight for as well? How can it work with what you want to fight for? Consider these things as well.
Yeah, because sometimes your LCP will not only pick you because of your competence, but how aligned are you with what the LCP wants to achieve. So I also thinking about how can you as a person, not only as a function, can contribute by being in a team. I think that is one of the things that I learned with my EB application. What my LCP said is that I'm not choosing you because you are competent in this kind of things, but I believe that you have a vision, you're very determined, you're passionate. So I think you can drive the entity together.
Of course, definitely show that, and definitely work towards it as well. And that's why I said, what can you do in your role currently now? Because that can really show it. Because let's be honest, if some of you guys might be running for LCVP roles that you weren't a member of before, right? Now I can't expect you to know exactly how to do the LCVP role, off the from day one. Yes, you should 100% understand how that function has been happening. Understand everything, learn everything you can about it. But at the same time, we will teach you these things.
Yes.
And we're your MCVP responsible for these functions for a reason.
Of course, we have FICON, we have Function Summit, we have Product
Exactly.
Summit. So of course, we will be guiding you into there to have competency to be an LCVP. You also, of course, need the basic knowledge, but I think the most important thing is to have the mindset.
Yeah.
And really correlation of okay, as an EB, this is the direction I want to give, and this is what I want to contribute as a person, not only as a functions. So again, of course, your LCP will also choose you based on how to say the fit on your team as well. So I think the next step is also have that what is your unique contributions that you want to give to the team. So not only I'm very experienced in OGV, this kind of thing, but then when your LCP asks or when person asks what will be your unique contributions and you don't know how to answer, then it's okay, so why you should be in my team, for example. So of course also answer that question, try to find out and discover yourself what will be my unique contribution to the team and what can I contribute to the entity as well. Cool.
And definitely, I would even say a cheeky tip for you guys because you guys are here is work with the guys that are also running with you, the other candidates. Pick their brains as well. Ask them, talk to them, because these guys could be in your team. I'm not sure if you already have. If you already have, good on you. Because I remember running for my EB experience, and we ran alongside each other, every single candidate from day one. We started together before we even started, I'd say, and started building a vision together and running together, working together, completing our platforms, sharing ideas together. And I think this is really important. So I think really seeing who's around you, learn from them, and doing things together. It's going to be really important.
Nice. Cool. So I think that's most of our tips. There's actually a lot of things that you can learn as an EB, but really trust us is one of the most challenging but super fun experience. I really love my LCP experience. Yeah, it's so worth it. Cool. So we have two of us here. So if you want to ask any questions regarding EB, things that we do, or again, if you need any more tips for how to prepare for a platform and confidencing as well, type in the chat. We will answer until 10 p.m.
Yeah, until 10 p.m. we'll be here.
Yes. So any question?
Yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. Do remember we will have LCVP specific functional spaces in other series of webinars hosted by MCVPs themselves. So this space, is for like the EB questions or anything else as well comes to your mind.
Like maybe for those that already have like the platform, sure. Like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like
Has anyone started?
Yeah, so for those that started, maybe you want to ask like specific things or like things that you need inspiration from. Nice. Oh, Ishal is asking question. What were the types of questions you asked previous EB members and current EB members?
Yeah, ask me other things. Yeah, one thing that comes to my mind is I'm gonna talk out of the functional space at the moment. For me, what I really wanted to understand is for me, what I really wanted to understand is what was the culture like in the LC? How was the culture from year to year to year? What was good about it? What was bad about it? What could be better about it? And to see how it's going, to really understand those things. I really wanted to understand also like functionally, of course, like what was the key improvements in each function and things like that. So that's functional. But as an EB, I really wanted to understand what was the leadership like. How did the EB move people? How did the EB lead the people? What was good about that? What could be better about these things? What are the things I want to take on? I wanted to ask the current LC, have an assessment of where we are at as a leadership body. What's the culture like for our LC? Where do we want to go? And how we're getting there, understanding that thing, so understanding that cultural side. And then I really wanted to ask also about the businessy side. Like I'm a really big fan of like entrepreneurship and all these things. So I always ask, what do the numbers look like? Why did we only get this amount of exchange as a total this year? Why did we only get this number of exchange as a total this year? How many people did that take? I ask a lot of questions about stuff, so I could go on and on. But I just ask about anything on my mind to really understand these things.
Yeah, always again, like I think really think in the bigger picture, not only like the functions, but like the LC in the uni. So not only like in Isaac, but in the uni, in the city, in Australia, this kind of thing. Because like you need to be like significant and as an existing like body of executive board, basically. Nice. Next, special 1-to-1, Jason.
Can I get you a special one? No worries, Jason. I'll see you on Wednesday, mate.
Nice. Okay, so Vicky is asking, what were you guys' unique contribution? Okay, so for me, in my previous team, I was a person that is very critical. I say like I'm very objective, like in my team, and then I'm very visionary. So like during the EB election, what I say is like actually I can, with the teams that you have right now, I can contribute in terms of like being that objective person that are bring us to forward, and then also basically like being the person that are very objective and logical in decision making. So like for example during EB meetings or like in EB decision making, I will be the one that is like, oh, doesn't make sense, like how can we make this like better or contributing, this kind of things. So like for me, that's kind of my unique contributions. And like my LCP's background is like, oh, I think like you're very good in the team to balance like the people in the team. So like for example, like the personality test, right? So you have different kind of personality, always try to like pop that out. And then like even though it's, for example, like I'm very like red, I'm very like direct, but then like I can contribute in a team by being the one that are aligning people to the right track, for example. So like that's for me basically my unique contribution.
I think for me, I'm loud, but like for me, my communication style is very more yellow. I'm very good at I'm an energizer for a team, being the guy to drive urgency, being a good challenger as well. I think it's one of my strengths as well. Being the guy in the EB that's not afraid to ask some tougher questions, to really ask, like actually like this is shit. Our stores right now, it's shit, guys. We're not getting enough opens.
No.
And we need to do something about it. And that's one of my like roles. It doesn't always make everyone smile. I won't disagree with that. It just, but I think I can bring that to the table as well. In my EB team, I did a lot of that. Made it real when it needed to be, and also I think I'm pretty fun as well. So aren't I, Kiki? I'm fun, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We have some people from my LC here. Like we have like Jenny and like Daphne. Would you guys agree?
Okay, let's continue. Let's
Cool.
continue. Okay. Emily, what were the kind of sacrifices you had to make during your EB team? A lot. Like I can say a lot. So I remember in my second EB term, during that time I was doing my final year paper. I don't know if you have it. Like when you create thesis, these kind of things. So basically, you create
yeah.
thesis, and it's like a very, very intense experience. At the same time, I was an LCPP. At the same time, I was like an ESC. At the same time, I have a part-time job. At the same time, I need to like be with my families, like this kind of things. And during that time, at the same time, I'm applying as MC. So it's like a lot of things. And I think the biggest sacrifices that I make is basically I think my family and friends. Like during that time, like I feel like I cannot spend that much time with my friends like outside Isaac. And then like it's pretty like thinking about it's pretty sad, but then actually I set like expectation with my friends like this is a passion I'm pursuing on, it's very busy, but then like actually still care about you, this kind of thing, like having those kind of expectations and knowing that this is important for me and people around me, but then like being very like real about it, like why I'm not, for example, focusing on this because like this is the passion that I want to pursue on, and it's actually only takes 1 year, like it's going to be like only a small percentage of like your whole life. So I think it's a very good sacrifices that you actually get like for EBJ. Like for me, that I'm taking 2 terms, so like I feel it's very like a very good sacrifice that I
think definitely I think it definitely ditto what Cheeks were talking about in terms of like, you know, studies and everything. But you know, I like to pride myself on being an excellent, you know, excellent doing last minute studies now. But in saying that, in terms of other sacrifices, I think definitely I would say like the biggest one that affected me was like at the time was like amount of time I spent with my family and friends as well. I spent a lot of time as an EB member with my EB team. And with my LC team as well, like my functional team, my team leaders especially, I spent a lot of time with them and my membership as well. But in hindsight now that I look back and now being on MC and doing ISEC full time, I would say actually the friends that I really care deeply about have never left me my side anyway.
Agreed.
They've always, I still can talk to them like nothing happened. And they understand, hey, this guy cares about what he does and he's passionate about that. And they're passionate about their things. And I think it's awesome. Like actually like help me really, I think define and shape like what kind of values I want to be with when I'm around different people. Like what kind of people that I want to really call my good friends. And the good friends, they never go anywhere. But yeah, let's go to the next question, huh?
Yeah, cool. So next,
on an average week, how long would you spend doing EV related work, mate?
Oh, okay.
How many weeks of ISEC? How many hours of ISEC?
I cannot count. Like when people ask me about this, I'm like, a lot of times.
Yeah.
I think like for me, it's not like having problem in balancing work and life, but it's kind of like integrated. So like, you know, I've read some like a comic like about when you do work of things that you love, you always in the constant state of like improving it every day. You know, we can reading about self-development stuff, reading self-management book, like this kind of thing, like those kind of books, is because like you are really passionate. So like I feel like I don't like a long time. How long? It's like a long time, but I don't really feel it.
I think
like,
it's I think
a long time. Like, there's a lot of like I'm doing asking on weekends as well.
Yeah, you know, I think the answer is that it's just as long as a piece of string, my friend. Like like how much do you care about is how much you're gonna do, and that's it. And that's it. You know, people can argue about, you know, spend so many hours doing ISEC, but hey, I really like ISEC, and this is what I'm passionate, this is what I want to do, and you just go do it. And then it doesn't become like a thing like, oh, you know, I'm spending too many hours on this. But there are sometimes you spend too many hours on certain tasks that you can get better at doing and become more productive at doing. That's another story. We have, well, there's another question about Emily. Is what good time management tips? We can quickly answer that before we answer Vicky's one, huh?
Okay, good team management, time management tips. I think it's not time management, it's more self-management. Yeah, because like we have all of us, like even Obama have 24 hours a day. So like of course, like it's more self-management. I think for me, like the things I learned is more prioritization. Like really, really clear of like what is the thing that you need to do that brings like the impact or the results. And then always don't overload yourself with like small things that makes you like stressed. Like I have a lot of things, this kind of thing. So like, and I think it's a constant state of like practicing and then trying it. Like for me, I try a lot of like self-management like methods. You can search it. It's like everywhere. You have books, you have like articles, this kind of thing. But then I think try everything from it. And my key learnings from it is like there's never a perfect self-management.
I think you just gotta kind of find your own way with this and just keep trying. I think when it comes to time management, I think self-management, like prioritization and delegation will be your best friends. Prioritizing tasks and delegating tasks. Like, which ones are you going to focus on? Which one should other people focusing on? How can you help them focus on those things?
Yeah.
Prioritizing and delegating are going to be your best friends.
Yes.
So what do you regret the most about your EB experience? If you can do it differently again, what would you do?
Regret. I have a story. So I think one of the most regret that I have as an EB is not really care, like not spending a lot of time with my TLs. I think that's one of the things. It's pretty sad. Like when I look back again, like I used to have a very fun and very like unique people in my team when I was RCB Finance. And then like during that time, I was super overwhelmed of like things I need to do. But then like looking back, I think if I spend more time with my TLs, like I can have more like good experience like in my future, and also like making sure I develop like my people in the team, because like mostly sometimes you're very overwhelmed with like the operational work, that right, and then not really focusing on like your EB development, but then I like your TL's development. But then I wish if I can turn back in time is to spend more time to have conversation with them, like asking them how do they think about the experience, this kind of thing, so like they also have a remarkable experience in Isaac. I think that's from me.
I think for me, it's funny because I think I spent a lot of time with my team leaders as an LCVP, as an EV. I spent a lot of time with them. I think I didn't spend a lot of time with my EB team actually.
For me, I spent a lot of time with my EB.
Actually, we spent a lot of time, but I think I wish I spent like my EB. We didn't do EB bonding till semester 2.
Oh, that's sad. You know, for me. Every EBM supper. Every week we do supper, and then that's why I gained 5 kilos. That's very bad. But that's like the bad implications. But after that, like until now, I still have a group chat with them, and it's still active. Like we talk about random shit. It's like been 2 years ago.
My EB's also random.
Yeah, like it's been 2 years ago, but we're still very close. So I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Nice.
How did being on EB act as a stepping stone to where you want to be in the future?
Okay, I can start. So like I can stepping stone. I think again, when you're an EB, right, you really like leading a people, right? And then when you want to be like in the future, like for example, a CEO or like business leader, entrepreneurs, like working in this kind of environment, like your confidence in leading a team and also your understanding towards people is really needed. Like legit, all of you like doesn't study like HR or psychology, right? And then like by being in Isaac, you actually have the platform to actually lead a team, and also like thinking about the strategical decisions, which like when you go outside of Isaac, like this is the skills that some people don't have. Which is like the big picture and like strategic decision making. So I think it's a very good stepping stone. That's what I want to achieve.
Like just a plus on this kind of topic. I think for me, what it's allowed and what I've noticed a lot of people that walk out of EB experiences and like leadership experiences in Isaac is to become really good at this thing, or become a lot better at this thing called empathy. You really start to really understand like what kind of values yourself has first, and then what kind of feelings people are displaying. Really understand atmosphere. Really start to understand people a lot more on a deeper level, because you start to realize actually as an EB, everything that happens in your LC is your fault. Like everything that happens, you know, every word, everything is like, you know, sometimes you feel as when you're a leader, team leaders know this feeling, and I think it's really awesome, like to learn how to have ownership. I think of something really big for me. Like for me, I never really had so much of that as an EB, to have a team saying like, yeah, man, we're a team, and we like everything that happens in LC is like, you know, like what this team is going to make happen and do together. And I think it really gives me a lot of confidence in this area. And even like if we want to talk career-wise or something like that, you know, I popped into a few job interviews and stuff, and people are like, you know, like, you know, they don't believe you when you're saying some things. Yeah,
like I went to an interview once for a scholarship, and then like, oh, why are you speaking like this? It's because like I always force myself like speaking a lot of people, like leading people. So that's kind of like the skills that I learned. And you get that along as an EB, because like as an EB you do like lead a lot of things, right? So that's actually
LCM meetings and everything, like trainings constantly.
Okay, cool. Nancy, have you ever faced a miscommunication or contradiction, problems with other EBs, and how did you overcome it?
All the time.
Every day, every time, it's like, oh, I don't agree with you, fighting, like screaming. I remember like there's an experience like one of my EB just like slammed the door and go out because like this kind of things. But then like I think in the end, like the closure is just like we're being a different people in the one team for a purpose. Like it's for achieving the same thing. So like even though we have this kind of miscommunication, I think how especially we overcome it is to have like understanding and then be very brave to like say like this is not right, like this is how should you communicate, because like again you feel like a family, you know, in the EB team where you're like need to be very open with each other, this kind of thing. So that's why I think like the building stage, like when you build a team, is very important, like having that bonding, like connection, so like you are more understanding towards each other. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like, we still have miscommunications now. Kiki still yells at me and wants to slap me, so you know it's all in a good day's work of, you know, that's what it means to be in a team, right? You really learn the value of like what team is like on EB like no other. Like you really, you know, you live and breathe with these guys sometimes. But yeah, it does happen. So what are the key learnings you've gained in terms of empowering others?
Empathy. I think
I was just gonna say again, like
it's the same thing, like understanding other people and then like connect with them like personally, not only personally but also like what they think, what they feel, this kind of thing. And then I think that's the best way to empower
like
others.
that's the best way. Like even when it comes to Linda's question, when you talk about management of team leaders, keeping them accountable rather than doing hands-on thing, it's really about empathy. I think really understanding, hey, what does this person need to actually be able to achieve the things they want to do? You know, do they need me to tell them every day, like, hey, you need to do your work, or do they actually need some support, or do they just need someone to listen to them, or do they need a functional training and something because they actually don't know how to do it, or do they need to be more clear about like the process so they can understand it better? Like, what is it that person needs, and what is it that team leader needs? Maybe the team leader needs to know how to better manage their team, you know. And it's about really diagnosing this, understanding where the team leader is coming from, so you can provide a solution towards it. And that's really how you can get the most out of like supporting your team leaders and make sure your team leaders grow as well. So
nice. Of course, we'll share slides. This video is recorded as well. So like if you missed something, like you can also repeat this video as well. Yes, Alyssa, in terms of having synergy between the portfolios, how did you maintain that one on a TL as well as the members level, especially when JD is so different, and top of that involving back office to make sure that everyone's on the same level? I think this is more like synergy. Like how can we make sure that we are on the same page, I guess. I think being an LCVP in a back office, like for me, it takes a lot of time to like understand like where people at. And I think learning, especially if you apply for finance and TM, like you need to know the basic operational stuff, like what's happening in like conversion, what's happening in like meetings and opens, this kind of thing, because like you need to contribute in that. So like basically for finance, like, okay, so we have this money, we have this investment. So like by doing, for example, like events and stall, how can it actually impact this kind of thing? So having that understanding, and then also set expectations that your other products VP also need to be understanding of what I'm doing as well. So like I think when you have that understanding between each other and then know that this is what I do, this is what you do, and this is how we should work together, then that is the best way to do synergy. And then I think for me personally is spending more time like with people, like personally as well, to really know how to communicate better with them, because like sometimes as a finance, it's hard to deliver that intention. You know, like people only know like money, numbers, this kind of thing, and then people doesn't take it seriously. But then like when I'm very straightforward, like, okay, finance is important because this is our entity needs to be sustainable, like this kind of things, and then it's like, okay, so I understand, and we spend more time to understand more about like back office. Basically
100% agree. Like I think it's all in the synergy. It's all in being clear with what's happening. It's all in being like having that understanding of what other people are doing and their roles as well. Super important. And also a bit of trust in each other that they'll do it is super important. And when it comes to empathy, I think a little tip is like trying to communicate in a way that a person is going to respond to, in a way that they like to hear.
The intention. The intention.
Communicate your intention super clearly and communicate in a way that that they would like to be heard, so they can actually understand your intention. It's like if I had a newbie come in and they're like, oh, you know, you have to get completes, and like, what is a complete? You got to really break it down and communicate the intention of things. And that's between functions as well.
Okay, last question. Was there a time you would want to quit EB? I think like for me personally, when things are a bit overwhelmed, like when I have a lot of things to do, maybe those thoughts come in mind. But then like I always try to be very conscious about it. Like for example, is this just a feeling? Is this just an emotion? And then like for me, always try to talk to with my EB team. Like for me, because like from my experience, my EB is always like someone that I can talk to, like be very open with. And then because we are struggling, like how to say, we are fighting the same purpose, and we're all of us are basically struggling to do what we're doing. So like be very open to that, and I think just like be very honest. Like oh, I feel very like it's a burden, like this kind of thing. Like how can I do better? And then like making sure EB team are also like supporting you in the way. So have that support system.
Yeah, the support system. Like I was gonna say exactly like the same thing. Like the thoughts of like is it worth it? Like is doing all of this like oh my god like. I'm just so frustrated at the moment. Everything I'm doing is just not happening. Things are just not happening. These thoughts, these questions, they definitely come time to time, and they definitely hit you like a bloody rock. Like we're human, as well. Like it happens. And I remember this moment. Actually, StakeCon New South Wales last year. This time, I was feeling super overwhelmed. No, even national conference last time. After Winter Peak, like my EB was like, oh my god, like we don't know what to like. Everything's so messed up. All these things are happening around us, and I think, like Maggie was there too. Like we were like crying. Like I remember seeing Maggie there. Like we're just crying. We're just like shit, man. Like we have so many ambitions, so many goals, so many dreams. We want to see Isaac in Australia have Isaac in our LCs fulfilled, and we're just so like lost in the moment. And what really let me continue and empower me to do so is team, is the support from people around us. And that's so important. And it's one of your biggest, most like one of the most like unsaid things that's your duty as well as an EB. And even being an ISEC in like leadership team positions is being a support system for the ones around you that need it. Creating the atmosphere so you can support each other with it.
I think this is a
so important.
tips as well, like what you say about how to prepare EB platform, right? It's like work together with these people that want to apply, because maybe these people are going to be your support system. Because you face like the same like process, the same challenges, this kind of thing. And then like I think what makes me going through like same like Jason is like the people, like the EB around me. So like, and my LCP as well, obviously, like because sometimes I'm just like want to like run to my LCP, like what the hell, like this kind of thing. But then my LCP is like, okay, let's work together, let's go through this together, like let's walk together, like as an EB team to actually solve this problem, and like everything's okay. Like it's 1 year and it's challenging, it's roller coaster, but like remembering that is like super worth it. Cool. So it's already 10 p.m. Thank you, everyone. We have like around 34 attendance. Oh my God. Wow. This is awesome. Again, if you want to talk to us personally, we're very open. Like just text us in Facebook. We're going to share this in the Isaac Australia members page with the slides and also the recordings. So wait for the functional webinar. It's coming like around next week. So for those that want to apply specifically, we're going to talk more about like functional role in each of the functions. So stay tuned, and bye.
And very last thing before anyone leaves, everyone turn your webcam. I'm going to take a quick screenshot of everyone in the thing.
Nice. Let's turn off camera. We have who? We have Olivia Arden. I'm so sure it's me.
There's so many people here now.
So many people.
It's amazing. So many beautiful faces. Okay, everyone turn on your camera. I'm gonna take.
I can take the second one.
Okay, you take the second one. Okay.
Okay.
We're happening. We got two full laptops. There are so many people here. Okay. Everyone turn on your camera. Turn on your lovely faces, people.
Nice.
Yes, you want to say that you were here. Learning with everyone in the nation how to be best EB you can be.
Imagine you're going to be like in the same like commission. Maybe there's some commission people in here. Oh my God.
Everyone join my commission.
Jeanette's camera doesn't work. It's okay, Jeanette.
It's okay. Okay. Oh,
your screen.
Enter full. I want to see as many faces as I can.
How to do? Is it the zooming out? Like
I'm not sure.
How do you zoom?
Okay, everyone smile. 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Bye everyone.
Yay. Good luck in your platform. See you at the MC functional webinar.
See you at VidCon. Yay! Oh my god. Oh,
No.
nice. Oh, awesome.
Awesome possums. Yo, what's up, Jada? Nice. I see you.
Yay, Jada and Alex!
Jada and Alex! Alright.
Nice.
Real talk. Who's gonna come to my commission? There can only be one of you guys.
Who's TM?
Who will be in my commission? Is anybody
Whoa.
want to? Neither. No, unacceptable.
TM is
Nah,
awesome.
Mac, marketing way.
Oh my god.
It's about getting the people here. How can we get exchanges if people don't know about exchange?
How do you get exchange if you don't have people?
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. People, man. Oh, do you want to ban like this?
Yeah, I do.
People that want to ban, post ban. Oh, I love the MC. We love all of you as well. Alex on TM. Yay!
Wow.
Alex! Oh my god. Yay. Wait for the functional webinar.
Mm. Are you bringing LCVP to your functional webinar?
Huh?
Are you bringing LCVP to yours?
What, functional webinar?
Yeah.
Maybe you can.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It'll be cute.
Oh, I
Please
love you.
love me, Kiki.
I love all of you.
Yeah, Kiki, do
Kiki.
you love us?
You know, I'm practicing for safeguard and Bitcoin. I know in some moments people are like,
Yeah,
Kiki,
they're
do
gonna
Kiki
ask-
challenge.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I already expected.
Fun team.
Yeah,
Kiki,
fun team.
do the
Kiki do Kiki challenge. I'm like, okay. And
Why do you pick that?
Nice. I didn't get told.
Oh, really?
Bye, Olivia. Are you waving or are you just doing like hand gestures in the air?
Can't see everyone. Where's everyone?
Everyone
How
left,
do you
mate.
unpin it?
I don't know. They either left or they just walked away and left it
Oh,
on.
there's 10 people left.
Oh, boy.
I can't see anyone. How do I see
I'm
people?
gonna stop recording.